to the Downkirk podcast. My name is Ethan Downing. This is my friend Robert Kirkendall III.
Hello,
So,
hello, hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
seen, seen any good movies lately?
No, I haven't. I mean, I've watched a couple, but I wouldn't say necessarily they're good. I watched. Oh no, you know what? Last night I was actually watching Notting Hill with Julia Roberts.
Oh, is that a new one?
No, that's an old one. That's like with Hugh Grant. Came out in the '90s, '99, I think.
I always get Julia Roberts confused with. Let me see her face real quick. Let me see here, Julia Roberts. Because there's a lot of actresses that have names that start with a J, like Jennifer Garner.
That's
Okay, Julia Roberts, the chick from Pretty Woman.
yeah.
Because I get her confused with Julia Stiles as well from.
I can see that. Although they're kind of Julia Stiles is significantly younger, I think.
Okay, I mean they're just white chicks with the name Julia. That's the only. That's the only thing.
Yeah, because that qualifies them. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't look the same either, but they
No,
both
they
have
don't.
Julia.
They're in movies, so it's like, and I'm not like a fan. Like if I was a Julia Roberts fan, then I would never get it confused.
You're
Like,
not a Julia Roberts fan?
I'm not like I don't follow her career. Like I'm a big fan of Will Ferrell, so
Yeah.
I never get Will Ferrell and Will Forte confused because I'm
Yeah.
huge Will Ferrell.
Well, you got Will Forte's. Well, I don't even know if you can compare the two. No offense, Will Forte.
Will Forte is hilarious though.
He's
He was
hilarious.
good as MacGruber.
But he has one movie where he's the star, MacGruber.
Yeah, and then he was in The Watch, dude. He was a hilarious cop in The Watch. Remember?
That's right. Yeah, he was in The Watch. Yeah.
Dude, for anyone who hasn't seen The Watch, man, you're not living life if you haven't seen The Watch.
Watch is hilarious. Listen to his face and look at my voice.
Hear my face and see nothing. The funniest thing, dude, I've been wanting. You can buy the Watch jackets online.
Dude, they have those online.
Yeah, dude, with the flaming eagle, like the flaming wings of the tiger on the back.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, Ben Stiller is kind of like right. Like it doesn't make any sense to have the head of a tiger with the wings of like an eagle and the whole thing's on fire. That kind of doesn't make sense. Like, I get what he's saying.
Also, the part that's really confusing is isn't being on fire bad traditionally? Like, isn't that traditionally seen as a negative?
I get having like flames, like Jeff Gordon on his jackets, he'd have flames from his wrists that would like go down on his jackets.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That's like a Tony Stewart thing, not a Jeff Gordon thing.
I don't know. I could be getting him confused. All my NASCAR facts are a little bit off because I don't follow the sport too intensely. I still have my NASCAR jacket though. It's
that thing. You should tell the viewers about that jacket.
That jacket has seen better days. It's I've had it since I was 14. I've had it for 10 years. That's crazy.
It looks it too, by the way.
It looks every bit of 10 years.
It looks like a jacket that you've had for 30. Like you could have named a number that was like a decent amount of time, and you've been like, yeah. Of course you have.
I wore a jacket for 7 years of my life that had Tony Stewart and Tony Stewart logos on it, and I wasn't a Tony Stewart fan. I wasn't a NASCAR fan. He was just one of the names I knew, and I liked the jacket. So
the jacket in its heyday was cool. Like I feel like there was a period in time where it was kind of a cool jacket.
There was 1 to 2 years where it wasn't falling apart. Because like I think the idea is that a lot of people who bought that jacket, because it's a fake leather jacket, and it like I paid $180 for it when I was 14 because it was like all my birthday money, Christmas money, savings up to that point in my life. And I think a lot of people who buy that jacket would wear it like 3 or 4 times a year, and it's like a fun novelty jacket.
Yeah,
I wore it like every day of winter for like 7 winters. And then I would just wear it just in fall and spring too, even when it was only like kind of like it was 50 degrees or 60 degrees.
Yeah. What was crazy to me about that too was that like I remember when you were wearing it, after a while, like when we were in Chicago, it would have holes in it. You just have like holes by the armpit or something, and you said the wind would come in there and it would bang around in your jacket. Stay in your jacket. You said you couldn't like maintain any sort of heat in the jacket.
Imagine someone has a straw and they blow the air right at your face and your skin. That's how it was, like all around. Like someone going.
I feel like we need to definitely at some point we need you to wear the jacket when we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
We need to see this. The jacket is so funny too because it's so torn up. One time he brought it into a store to get the zipper fixed, and he walks in and he goes, "Excuse me, how much would it be to get like the zipper fixed?" Right? And she like scoffed at him a bit, and then she said, $20. He's like, "No, seriously," like, and she's like, $20. And he's like, "Okay, like that's that's good." And then she took the jacket from him and she tossed it on the floor, like in the dirty clothes pile.
She tossed it on a pile. It slid down the pile and then she kicked it towards the pile. I'm like, can you wait until I'm not looking right at you to do that, please?
Isn't this right before the person before her got their like jacket hung up and stuff? Like,
yeah.
Before you in line got like their jacket up.
Yeah, a guy had a suit jacket and he's like, "Can I get this dry cleaned?" And she put it on the thing.
She tosses yours into the pile and kicks it towards it after it doesn't make it.
Well, now I have another decision to make because the cuffs are really frayed. Really, really frayed. So it's literally like popcorning. It's like dandelion flakes coming off the wrist whenever I would wear it near the end. Like little bits of like thread and like fake leather were coming off each one. And so I'm like, so they would either have to cut off from like, have to cut off the section from like here to here and just have it be like a short one and hem it, or they could put like a cotton thing on it to like extend it. But then that would look weird. Then it would be like a 3/4 sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big decision to make for your decade-long jacket.
But everything that I replace it with is better material than the original. Because I've had the collar replaced too, and they put like real leather lining onto the fake leather collar to like keep it together, and that's like super stiff and hard. And, like, really well.
Put it on and you can't even move the neck. You're like, oh no, it's nice.
Because it got to the point where the back of the collar was like cracking and like flaking away. Like, when it cracks, it starts cracking and it starts flaking. Like little bits of it would be in my hair. Like and it would scratch against your neck. It would be like someone going like that to the back of your neck.
At some point, you're not even gonna have the jacket anymore. Like it's just gonna be a completely different jacket.
It's gonna be a new jacket, yeah. Because it's also ripped on the back from here down to like here.
Yeah.
Because there's but the thing is, it's just the outer layer. So like, if everything's still together, it's not like there's a hole, but it's just.
That's pretty crazy.
I might lose the O. I might lose the O in Office Depot. That's how bad it is. Because there's a big Office Depot logo on the back.
Funny. It's even funnier to me that this is like there's a bunch of logos on it, and so you're just basically being like a giant advertisement for other companies. You're not. It's not even. I think Office Depot would pay you to not wear the jacket. They'd be like, hey, please, we don't want your ad revenue. Please, we'll pass.
Yeah, it'd be like if you saw a homeless guy wearing a Coca-Cola shirt. Like maybe put on a Pepsi shirt or something. So it looks like we don't create poverty.
Anyway, speaking of Pepsi, what's your favorite soda? Is it soda or pop, by the way, for you? Is it pop or something?
I always call it soda. Because I think pop or soda pop, it depends on how maybe you were raised. But like for me, when I say pop or soda pop, a little bit of me like cringes a little bit.
I say both. I say pop and soda. It just depends on how I feel.
A lot of times I'll say Coke, but when I say Coke, I'm referring to every soda.
I mean, Coke's kind of nice in that way, right? They just have the monopoly on all of the soda industry.
So, dude, recently I actually tried Pib Extra again. Remember Pib?
Dude, Pib Extra's good.
Pib Extra's good. It's weird. It's like halfway between Dr. Pepper and Coke.
It is, yeah.
Because it doesn't have all the cherry flavor that a Dr. Pepper does, but it's not quite as sweet as a Coke. It's like in the middle. Like a nice little mix.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you even look at it. Have you seen their flavor? Actually, the flavor on the side of what Pib Extra is, they show you on there. It says really? It's spicy cherry. Yeah.
Spicy cherry. That's interesting. I don't feel the spiciness. I mean, maybe if they're referring to spiciness, like the carbonation.
I think spiciness in terms of like maybe like cinnamon, like a little
'Cause
bit of cinnamon in it. Go ahead.
I do think that the formula of some sodas brings out the carbonation more
Oh,
in
dude,
some versus
Coca
others.
Cola, absolutely. I don't know what it. Coca Cola is the most carbonated pop ever. I don't.
Well, root beers are very foamy.
They're foamy, but they're not carbonated as much. Have you noticed that? I think it's that like
Like once it settles.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, like the foaminess, the frothiness of a root beer comes from I think the process. That's why you also get like a lot of froth in beer. You know what I mean? Uh, do you understand? It's the process of the actual beer making the beer. Uh, Whereas with like Coca Cola, dude, there's a reason why they have Coke and Mentos, right? There's a reason why you can use Coca Cola as like a cleaning product, and you can't use Pepsi. I
Yeah.
mean, good. I bet you could use Pepsi, it just wouldn't be as good because it's like even in the cleaning department, it's not quite as good.
It's anything acidic, anything super acidic. I think
Yeah.
it definitely is. But like, all right, so what we should list right now: our favorite brown soda, our favorite clear soda, our favorite root beer, and our favorite orange soda. But like, orange is a pretty big staple.
All right, brown. Your favorite brown? What do you got?
All right, so brown, you're choosing between Coke, Pepsi, Pib, Dr. Pepper,
Well, I have RC Cola right now, but that's
RC Cola. I forgot about RC Cola. That's a good one. You can also choose. And then there's the generics. There's like Sam's Club Cola, Shasta Cola.
Sam's Cola actually has really good cola syrup in it, but not very good carbonation. But anyways,
Yeah, some of those like you ever get like an off-brand 2 liter? The first drink, the first cup of the off-brand 2 liter is always good, but then the last cup is awful. It's like
the last they should have that. They should use that for how they like interrogate people. They like open up a 2 liter. It's like an off-brand 2 liter, and they like start off, and the guy's like, "Oh, it's pretty good Coke." Can I get a Coke? He starts drinking the cola, and he's like, "It's pretty good." And then by the last one, he's like, "Oh, please, like I can't. No, please don't. Oh God, not the last." He's like screaming.
Yeah.
That was so funny. My favorite brown pop, definitely Coke. I mean, it's my favorite pop period.
It's hard. It's like you know that it's your favorite when you keep coming back to it time and time again. And for me, it has to be Coke because every time I'll try other things, I'm always like, this is good for right now, for this week of my life, or for this few days that I'm drinking it. Like if I'll get like a 12 pack of it or something. But I'm always like, man, a Coke would be really good right now. Like Coke is good, man. It's hard. It's hard to argue with Coke. So Coke is my favorite brown. Ooh, favorite clear. So the clears, you got 7 Up and Sprite are the two big ones, but you also have Sierra Mist. Sierra Mist was like an old favorite.
What do you got? What do you got for clear?
Oh, you could also do Fresca as a clear. Remember Fresca?
Yeah. I do.
And then there's Twist Up, which is the off-brand. I be honest, I've actually been drinking 7 Up a lot more lately. 7 Up is like Sprite, but it's way more citrusy. Like there's a lot more citrus, like lemon kick to it. And I think I've neglected, like historically throughout my life, I'd probably say Sprite more, but I think 7 Up.
I think Sprite. So this is the funny part because Sprite and 7 Up to me are two different flavors. I think Sprite's like just refreshing. Like if you ask me that, what'd you say?
They both have the lemon on the logo.
Yeah, but what I mean is that like Sprite to me is literally like it's like the Gatorade of sodas, right? Like if I were to like pick a soda, like say you're at a store, right, and you got to pick a soda out, you're gonna go play a basketball game, right? You're gonna go commit some athletic competition. Which soda are you gonna pick? You're not gonna take a Coke, right? Like you're like there's certain ones you wouldn't take. Sprite would have to be the one where you're like, this might get me through the game because it is refreshing. Whereas I don't think
what soda would make you the most sluggish, you think? Would slow you down the most.
Yeah, maybe like, I think it might be Coke, honestly. Actually, probably root beer. Root beer's so
yeah, any of the root beers. So filling.
Yeah, so I would probably say 7 Up as well. But I would say Sprite is more refreshing. So sometimes like it just depends. I do think 7 Up though has a better flavor. I think it's a more fuller flavor. Again, the reason why Sprite I think might be better thought of is because it's so refreshing. It really is. Like it's like it tastes like when people get like that water that's like with pop like with carbonation in it, seltzer water.
Oh
right?
yeah, like L. something
Yeah,
like
purple
that.
fountain. Yeah, some air. I can't remember what it is, but like water that's like sparkling water or whatever. I always hate it. I'm like, you know. Well, it's like that's how Sprite tastes like those things should. That's how I feel.
With the sugar packet.
What'd you say?
Like carbonated water with a sugar packet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Sprite doesn't even. I don't even taste the sugar. I just taste the like the refreshing qualities of it.
Okay,
What's
so
next?
we're both in agreement. So, dude, we're 2 for 2. We agree on both.
Yeah.
All right, so with root beers, you got the big three are Barks, Mug, and A&W.
Yeah.
Um,
This is where the line splits because those actually. I mean, that's the best three we've heard so far.
and then you also have like your name brands. There's this one root beer that it's you can only see it on tap. It's on tap at Sinclair's and other gas stations in Utah, and I really love it. And it's called Rochester root beer.
Oh, I think they bottle that. I think they bottle it though and sell it.
Look up a picture.
You know what I mean? I think I've heard of that because maybe I'm thinking of Santa Fe root beer.
Because on the label it just says old fashioned root beer. The only reason why I know it's Rochester is because I asked the lady what the name of it was, and then she found it. Yeah. So Rochester root beer is pretty good, but I do want to pick a mainstay, like a nationally recognized one.
Well, you got to pick one of the three. You got to pick one of the Mugs, Barks, or A&W.
Lately I've been having A&W. I got a 12 pack, and the thing about A&W is it's good. The flavor of it can be a little overpowering. I think it's the sugariest of the three. I think it has less of the. It's closer to just a Coke than it is a root beer at times. Like if you have a few cans of it, you know. Whereas like
I can see that.
And then Mug, I don't know. Mug leaves me a little bit of an aftertaste, so I'd probably choose Barks. And Barks was founded in 1898, 100 years before I was born. So I'm a little. Oh. And it's got a cool logo, dude. I mean, it spells Bark with a Q. I mean, that's just such an old. It's got an old barrel on it. It's got like that silver can. I don't know. I like that.
It's tough for me because I think
A&W
I prefer my favorite version of A&W actually is when you go to A&W the restaurant and then you get A&W there because that A&W is so good.
They make sure it's like that's their thing.
Yeah, I think when it's canned, I think Barks is better, but I'd go A&W because I think A&W whenever you try it off tap, I think it's just so good, dude. I mean, it's.
I have to think about that now because it is probably the best root beer float root beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when they make it into a float.
It's definitely the best root beer, period. There's no other. It's the premier root beer for root beer floats.
But I think I've had only like 20 to 30 root beer floats in my entire life, whereas I've had like. What?
Were you a kid? Were you a child? How long were you a child? For 5 years? What? 20 to 30?
I'm not saying it's not like I avoided root beer floats. Just the amount of times where we had ice cream in the house and beer in the house.
This is before you know it. You're gonna tell me you're gonna be like, dude, I've only peed outside like 2 or 3 times in my whole life, and I'm like, dude, first off, you peed outside more times than 2 or 3 times in your life in front of me or around me. You're like no way.
I think I've peed outside in places where you're not supposed to pee, probably like 50 to 60 times.
50. That's a conservative estimate. You alone, just around me, probably 10 to 20 times.
Can't think of that many times. I mean, all right. Either way, we have to. I want to do the orange. I actually did this. Me and Ben Shitwood, my old buddy. We tested different orange sodas to see which one's best. Now the 3 big ones are Sunkissed Orange, Fanta Orange, and Orange Crush. And when I tested all 3, I don't have this one as often, but I think Orange Crush is the best. I get sick of it because the thing about orange flavoring is you can get sick of it quicker. But yeah. I can have a larger amount of Orange Crush than anything else and still like enjoy it like several cans later, several 2 liters.
I definitely feel like Fanta is so. Crush is so good. I'm not taking away from Crush because I was actually about to say Sunkissed is right, but I think the best Sunkissed flavor is actually like the normal. Like, don't they have like a grapefruit flavor for Sunkissed or something? Is that Squirt? That's Squirt. That's Squirt.
Oh, dude, we didn't even think about Squirt. Squirt could be in the clear category.
That's true. Yeah, well, dude, Squirt has to be the weirdest singular flavor for like a popular pop.
Well, Squirt and Fresca, I guess, are the only two competitors in the grapefruit category because Squirt and Fresca both are grapefruit flavored.
It's
But
a small category.
Fresca's weird because it's like soda for adults.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's
But
a little bit more boring, I feel like.
I feel like there's a reason why there's only 2 grapefruit sodas though. Like, like that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not.
The grapefruit juice is so good though, dude. If you could carbonate grapefruit juice and sell it, it would be incredibly good. Like,
I think it would definitely be. I think it would definitely taste probably just like Squirt. I'm sure that's why they came up with Squirt. Somebody probably thought of that.
Squirt to me doesn't taste like grapefruit. Squirt to me it's like Sprite with some tang to it.
See, I feel like it tastes to me it tastes like, I mean, it's sugary grapefruit,
Have you had grapefruit juice though? Have you ever juiced a grapefruit?
No, not once.
But I'm telling you, dude, if you've had that, then nothing else really tastes like it. It has. I'm saying Squirt and Fresca taste maybe 4%, like what grapefruit juice tastes like. It's like that.
It's like one of those. You think it's like lemon candy where you're like, oh, this lemon flavor is so good, but it tastes nothing like lemon.
Well, it tastes way, 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 way better than lemon. Because lemon, I've drank lemon juice and I've eaten a lemon like an apple once, and it's
yeah. Why is lemon such a popular flavor, by the way? Like lemonade, I don't know, like.
But lemon itself sucks. Like, you know what I mean?
You know what probably is? That actually makes a lot of sense now. It's because you can't eat lemon, so they probably thought of other ways that lemon can become valuable. So like, let's make a drink out of it called lemonade. Let's put, you know what I mean? So like, let's garnish. Let's use lemon as garnishes.
And flavoring like lemon chicken.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Lemon has its lemon, and that's another thing is like, because lemon isn't like watermelon where you can just eat it straight. That might even be more why they like are like, oh, let's use it for all these other things. Because there are people still grow. I mean, I'm sure at some point there was like a big like, oh, we still grow lemons and limes. Like what are we gonna do with them? You know what I mean? Like that's why like that's why we have hot dogs, because they just had a bunch of leftovers. And they're like, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they're like, let's just put them all together, poop them out as hot dogs.
I know people were like super against hot dogs when they came out. When Nathan's started selling hot dogs in 1916, people got like really upset.
These are disgusting.
Well, because they said they used the lips of a cow and then the butthole of a cow, and to make the thing. That's like the big conspiracy thing that everyone said that like turned out not to be true. It's not true. So it's like it's like you know what I mean? It's not false, but it's not like they only would cut out those parts of the cow and then put that in. They would just grind up whatever was left over.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Well, dude, have you heard the story of how Cheetos, or not Cheetos, but like the corn puff got created?
Corn puff? I don't think I know what a corn puff is.
Yeah, it's like Cheetos. It's like with the Cheeto, but Cheetos just have a specific cheese over it.
Are you saying the texture, like the crunch of the?
No. Corn puffs are like corn puff balls. Cheese balls. Anything that has like.
The cheese balls. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Anything that's like puffy though. I'm saying if you take the cheese away and it's just a puff, I'm saying those got invented because there was like a corn mill thing that was like grounding down corn for cows in like the 1900s ish, like 1910s. Anyways, in this machine though would go so fast and it would heat up and it would shoot out this like corn grain on the side of it. And so one day, dude, one of these guys took it home. It was like the byproduct of this machine grinding up corn. And he took home the byproduct, which was was this corn puff, and he basically fried it up and then he made like snacks out of it. And people loved it so much that so originally they were in business for like helping cows eat corn, and then the business switched to like go towards the corn puff. But it's funny to me because I'm saying like this dude saw this machine poop out like some corn puff and he was like, that looks tasty. You know what I mean? Like he literally took it home and he was like, let's fry it up for the kids. Like, I mean that is the saddest thing I've ever heard. Like I cannot imagine like, all right, like, like who eats first? I mean, are you taking first bite in your family?
Like, well, we're gonna feed this to the cows. I guess I'll just feed this to my children instead. It's crazy, dude.
It's crazy how we like discover things too, because there has to be like somebody who like first discovered that. Like somebody like when we find out that like certain plants have certain medicinal properties.
It 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 kills me that the first guy to ever cut open a pineapple, it pineapples have all the makings of what you think would be something poisonous that would kill you. It's spiky. It has these big spiky like leaves growing out of it. It looks like a beehive. It looks like if you cut it open, 1,000 locusts are going to spray.
Yeah.
And then you cut it open, and it's this weird, unnatural yellow color, and it's flat yellow. There's nothing like, dude. I think they would make like slaves eat it or something before they make anyone else, because of how freaky is that? Like, imagine if you saw a pineapple in the wild and you cut it open and it was yellow. Like, would you even want to eat it?
I imagine actually probably like indigenous people probably discovered it. You know what I mean? Like
that's
where pineapples are from.
But that guy who discovered it, the first ever indigenous dude in the wilderness to ever eat it, he had to be like.
Well, I'm sure what happened was they were like probably like, we need food because we're gonna die, and they probably had no other option. They probably were like, I mean, that's like that. You know what I mean? Like it's funny to think now because like we just go to Walmart and get whatever we want, but like these guys, you know what I mean? They're like, they're walking around and like looking at stuff, and they're like, they look at it and they're like, well, that's not not even good at all, right? Like day 1, and then like day 10, you're like starving, and you're like, all right, like, oh, like whatever, I don't care, like at least it's edible, like it looks vaguely edible.
The amount of people that have died in human history from starving to death is crazy. Crazy.
Oh, I imagine it's astronomical. I mean, sometimes I wish we had to like go find our food, like I wish like Walmart was like would put us on like a little bit of a hunt. Like they're like it's funny to me that everything's so organized now, where they're like, oh, the pineapple section's over here, this is, like what if it was like, go find it, it's here somewhere, do you want it bad enough?
Or not just go find it, like get it from Earl, like get it from him. Murder him for your food. That's how you have to get food.
I mean, like, imagine a scavenger hunt to go, like, how bad do you want Coca-Cola? Are you willing? You want a 12-pack, but are you willing to put the work in for it?
Are you willing to cold cock a single mom in the face for a pack of Coke?
But imagine we should open up a grocery store where they do scavenger hunts. That'd be so cool, dude. I mean, I don't know. Like, if the kid wants candy, is the kid gonna put the work in for the candy, or he's just gonna complain about it when he sees it? What?
Would they still have to buy it after they found it?
I don't know. I think there should be a rule like after a certain time limit, if you're willing to look for like an hour, the kid's willing to give. I think for kids, right? If a kid's willing to put in an hour of his time to look for it, and he has to really look for it, I think he should get it for free. He should have like a code. He should have like a code to see like how long he was in there for.
Okay. I mean, like the thing is that people just want to get groceries. Like, you know what I mean?
No, sure. I don't know. Like, I mean, like you say that, dude, but like, I'm sure the people. Have you seen Fight Club? I'm sure the guys in Fight Club were probably like, I'm just trying to drink a beer in a bar, dude. Why would I want to be in a Fight Club? And then they're in it and they're like, wow, this is awesome.
And then they start blowing up buildings.
It escalated so fast. They went from a Fight Club to a terrorist group, like in 0 to 60. Like it was like nothing.
And then they're like, we have to cut off your balls. And then you're like, oh, you don't have to do that with me. And you said, but you said, no matter what I say, still do it. Like, why would you pigeonhole yourself into? Why would you have followers like that? Like, why would you do that to yourself?
That's so funny, dude. It's crazy to me though that like, we had a Fight Club in our high school, by the way. Did you know that?
No, come on, man. What do you mean? Like a group of people that would fight each other?
No. Yeah, we had like a real Fight Club. Yeah, you didn't know that? I got invited to it. They're like, dude, you should call out somebody, right? They're like, we're calling out people on Twitter or something. Which, by the way, you can already tell it's a high school Fight Club if you're calling people out on Twitter. But you don't call people out on Twitter. That's not a Fight Club. You go to Fight Club and then you fight someone. Like, you don't call people out. But anyways, yeah, dude, this guy's like, dude, you want to do it? You want to join? Like, we meet up at this place like every week. I was like, no way. I was like, I was actually sounding kind of cool, but I didn't want to fight anybody.
I was gonna say that's the thing. The only problem with Fight Club is that you have to fight people.
I
wouldn't mind doing it if it was just there's two people that are like set to fight each other, and then you're just gonna go watch.
Oh, that's how it is. Yeah, that's how he was doing it. But
Oh,
I kind of like the idea of going in there like, I don't know, blind. Like, because the thing about, I mean, you told me when you were a kid you never fought, dude. I fought all the time as a kid. Like, I've been in so many fights. I've been in.
I had little scuffles, but nothing like.
No, I mean, like we'd put on boxing gloves and like we'd have like a dad, which is funny that you think about it, because like he was like obviously the oldest of all of us because we're all kids. But he'd like go, right, and then we'd just go at each other. And then the dad would record it up online, and then and then he'd put it on YouTube and then make like 100 here, 100 there. He'd put us in for a little bit of a cut.
Were you there when we did that at Cracker's house? Remember Cracker?
No, I wasn't. Sadly, because it was Jesus Harrison,
David Clary.
David Clary, yeah.
Yeah, for the listeners who don't know, Cracker is the guy's last name. His name is Taylor Cracker. We're not just calling him Cracker, but yeah, there we bodied. We did the thing where you can like punch each other anywhere from the neck,
Yeah.
from below the neck to the waist. Your torso.
No, that yeah, dude. I mean, I've bodied people. Me and Jesus have bodied quite a bit.
He's pretty good. I bodied Jesus, but I don't know. It was like I got a few hits in, but then after like 30 or 40 seconds, one of us would always.
Really, dude? No. Whenever we do fights, Jesus was actually, because Jesus, I grew up with Jesus. Actually, the first memory I actually have at Fairview, which is where I went to elementary school at, and then it feeds into Mission Trail, and then that feeds into Olathe Northwest. The first memory I have is whenever I jumped in line for my third grade class because I was late to school, and he tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "You just cut in front of me," and I was standing next to Sandy, and that's the first person I met in school. That's literally, he's like, you just cut in front of me, like you're not allowed. And I remember thinking like, what? Like, are you kidding me right now? I'm late. Like, I don't.
Did you though?
Right? What? What did you say?
Because then he has a point.
I probably did. No, but it was just funny to me because I'm saying like I was late. Like we were literally on the way to class, which was like a 2-second walk. You know what I mean? Like, did it matter? Like, that's what I mean. I guess I didn't. I still don't even remember this. I don't think we had like an order that we had to be in. Right? Like, I don't like there was no like specific order. Like, it was just whichever order you showed up in, and I happened to be late.
There was a line of people standing, gut to butt. You know what I mean? And then like if you slide in between them, regardless, like it doesn't take a genius to figure out. Like you're disrupting an order of like.
No, what I mean is right is that he was acting like his spot was next to Sandy though. I think he had a crush on Sandy. That's probably what happened. Which, by the way, I also remember Sandy. Sandy went to high school with us for a bit. But anyways.
Yeah, I don't think I ever met her.
Yeah, Sandy Sibase, I think so you say your last name. I can't remember. But anyways.
The class was so big.
Really? I almost knew everybody, but then I didn't know the girl who sat next to me on graduation night. I met her for the first time that night. That was pretty fun.
I know, dude. There was like, I think we had a class, because we had a graduating class of 448. And I think I knew the faces or names of like 380 maybe. I think there was 60 that I probably did.
300, dude. I probably knew.
Say where you recognize their face and you're like, oh, this is that guy.
I probably knew. I mean, I would imagine maybe 10 kids I didn't know. But the thing, here's also the problem though, right? Because I wouldn't know, and that's you can't gauge that because you don't know them. Do you have like, so I couldn't gauge people I don't know because I don't know how many people I don't know. But I'm assuming because
gauge how many people you do know and then subtract that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I would assume that I know everyone because we had, because you wait before graduation, you wait in that group of people that like earn your whatever. I mean I knew everybody in that group except one person, which was the person I sat next to. So like I just gauging off of that, I would assume it'd be very small. If every room I only don't know one person, how many, you know what I mean? There's probably 10, 11, 12 rooms, so maybe 12 people, But I mean, yeah, it's weird too though, because also another thing you got to keep in mind, how many people did you know that didn't know you? Right? Like you got to add that in there too, where you're like, oh man, they didn't even, I mean, I knew them, but they didn't know me. Which is funny because then that comes into, makes you think like, how many people knew you? Well, I mean, or is it the same number, right? Like, you're like, oh, well, because probably everybody in our class knew Zaccolino, but Zaccolino probably only remembered half of us.
I don't remember him being that popular at all.
No. But dude, it's not because he's popular. It's just because, I mean, it was Zaccolino.
Troublemaker. Yeah.
I mean, who? I'm sorry, but you know Zach. Did Zach? I mean, how well did Zach Galino know you?
I don't know how Zach Galino did so well with the ladies in school because for the listeners, he was super short, like 5'4", 5'3", maybe. Like, and dude, he would like, how are you closing in on these girls, dude? He must have just had good game, I guess.
I mean, I'm surprised. I'm friends with Zach. You know, like I'd say hey to Zach, but I'm still surprised he like graduated. Like, didn't he graduate in like a what do they call that? A house arrest bracelet? Like he was one of those kids. You know when they say like, oh, they just pushed him through school.
He's definitely one of those kids. Last time I saw him at Price Chopper. I was walking to Price Chopper, and he was walking out from the Price Chopper as I was walking in, and he was walking out, no shirt, no shoes, nothing but a pair of tan joggers on, and it had the clip on the thing. You know, the exploding ink clip was still attached to his thing. And he was trying to smoke weed out of an apple. He was like, that was the last time I ever saw him. So I don't know what he's doing.
I feel like that's a perfect illustration of Zach Galino. And I like Zach, by the way. I do. I think I've hung out with him, and he's cool to hang out with. But he's definitely one of those guys where you could pin a story to him pretty quickly. Like you say, oh, one time I saw Zach do this, and you'd be like, yeah, yeah, you couldn't say no. I mean, if I say someone was like, hey, Bobby, Ethan did this, right? I'd be like, that doesn't sound like Ethan at all, right? Like you know what I mean? I'm saying I could say yes and no. I could discern where like the line is on things that you would do and wouldn't do. With Zach, I've hung out with him. And I don't know where that line exists. Like I don't know what he wouldn't do.
He got in a car accident when he wasn't allowed to drive, and he had an open bottle of Crystals just sitting in the cup holder, and and I think the problem is the way that our school liaison officers were, like the cop, like the cop that's supposed to be at the high school. I think once you get like busted for something. And I think he's always just kind of looking out for you a little bit. He's always like, what is this kid doing? And so, like, because he said that they busted him for weed, but he said that they scrubbed the fibers of, like, the carpet on his floor, the floor of his car, to get like the $250 of weed or something like that. I'm like, that's not fair. There might be that much in my car. I don't even smoke.
That's like the dollar bill. You know what they say every dollar bill or every like $5 whatever bill has like cocaine on it. They have like cocaine.
Yeah, it's like how do I know my car doesn't have weed on it from a previous owner?
What did they busted you for that? They literally scrape a cocaine off your dollar bill and they're like, what is this? I got that from Walmart just now. I don't. Right, what? Like that would be so funny if they busted you for that.
The cop finds a line of cocaine in your car, and then he has like the cocaine on his nose, and he's like, "What's that? What's that?" Like, dude, you totally just planted that there. Like,
dude, what if he dashed out a line? He did the line, and then he's like, "Yeah, we found coke on the dollar bill. We're gonna book him." You just did the line with the dollar bill. I didn't do that. That would be so funny. One time, dude, Zach Galino, he was actually I can't remember who he was with. He was with someone, dude, but he did coke and he ran into the wall because I was with him afterwards. He ran into the wall and he's like, "Get out of my way! Get out of my way!" At the wall, dude. I'm not joking. And he got so angry, he started screaming, like screaming, not even like anything. He was like intimidation screaming, not even. Someone's like, "Are you good? Are you okay?" Because like I'm worried about him. Like like watch out for this guy. Like
I think he had a rough childhood or something because he had when we were in gym class, he had marked in the back of his neck from where his dad, like, he had his headphones on, and his dad like ripped him off of his neck.
That's awful.
Yeah, I was like, oh man. I mean, I'm not saying his dad is abusive. I don't know.
Well, I mean, clearly that incident, that is not, it's obviously not a good.
I don't know though. I think, how many abusive incidents do you have to be considered an abusive parent?
That's a good question though, right? Well, okay, hold up. I think it's more like this, right? Is he an abusive parent? No, we can't say that. But was that an abusive incident? Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like, and so like, this is the same way. Like, you're not necessarily abusive if you. I'm sure everybody's dad or everybody as a parent done something that's like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of on that line where you're like, well, yeah. Oh, the parents in the Whataburger who kept feeding the kid fries.
That's gotta, like, the baby. You know, the baby's mind is like, please stop. Like,
please stop. Please. So for the listeners that don't know, one time me and Ethan, we drove all the way down to Arkansas to go to Whataburger. Actually, there's a Whataburger in Kansas City now, but originally the closest Whataburger was in Arkansas. So we drove all the way down to Arkansas. It's like 3-hour drive to closest Whataburger. From Kansas City. So we go to Whataburger, and we're like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. I never had Whataburger, at least not consciously. I might have, like, when I was younger, and I liked it, but I not like in my memory. I don't remember having it. So we go down there, and I'm really excited. We get a good order, right? I get like the triple. I get the largest burger you can possibly get there. Ethan does the same thing, obviously, because we took a 3-hour drive. One burger for each hour of the drive. So we go in there, we order it, we're sitting down, we're like so excited for like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? All right, our order doesn't get called. We see the guy behind us get his order, right? Like, okay, like our order's next. You know what I mean? Like, we're still our order's next. Like, it's all right. The girl behind him gets her order. The family gets their order after that. After a while, you start looking at it and you're like, okay, like, we start looking around and we're like, I mean, they're serving people and they're getting their order and they haven't even kind of called their order. So we go up there and ask them, like, hey, what's going on? And they say, oh my gosh, we're so sorry, we bumped the order. Actually, they denied that they bumped the order. They were like, we haven't had time to make it. Which
they asked to see my receipt. They were like, did you even order food at all? Like,
I don't know. No, they and then when we told them, yeah, they were like, we didn't bump your order. No, we didn't bump your order, not at all. You know what I mean? And we're like, it's okay if you did. Like, we just want our food, right? And so they felt really bad, though. Either way, they felt really bad. And they're like, hey, look, we'll get you a bunch of free stuff. They gave us like free, all the desserts basically. What did we get? 2 milkshakes. We had 2 large milkshakes. Some apple pie stuff.
I don't remember getting anything for free.
Yeah, dude, we got a giant. Well, actually, I think it's because you already ordered a milkshake. Actually, I think that's right. I think you got a milkshake.
Only you got a free thing.
I got a milkshake, and because you don't like the apple pie like that they cook, or you denied it for some reason. I actually remember that too, because they were like, she's like, do you want anything? And you're like, my food. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'll take a milkshake. I kind of want a milkshake. And she's like, yeah, we can get you a milkshake. That's right, dude.
I didn't realize that she was asking if I wanted something for free. I thought she was like, because sometimes when people ask you if you want anything, they mean go away. Do you want anything? Leave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I thought it was like, do you want anything?
No, you thought she was asking like, what do you want?
What do you want? Yeah, that's how I.
No, dude. Anytime the other day, dude, I got something for free. They're like, hey, do you want this free shake? And I was like, sure. It's so funny because sometimes people are always like, it's kind of like you said, they'll position it or they'll say it in a certain way where you're like, I don't know what is going to come of this interaction. But whenever they say, hey, like, do you want anything? I always say, yeah, what can you get me? You know what I mean? That's usually what I try to like, that's how, because I'm like, well, what do you even have to offer? Right? Because like, if they're like, do you want anything? And they're like, and I go, yeah. Right. And then they just like shove something down my throat. You know what I mean? I can't really say I blame them necessarily completely.
I want that red polo you're wearing.
But anyways, so we got all those things, right? But then she kind of talked to us. The manager talked to us for a bit, just to like make conversation. And she mentions this incident where this baby threw up everywhere. And the family just left it, like put napkins over it, And then when she confronted them about why their baby threw up everywhere, they said, and this is literally, I remember the way she said it, the exact cadence, the way, like everything. She was like, we just kept feeding it fries. And they said it with that same kind of like, almost like braggadocious, kind of like, we rammed fries in this child's throat. And then our child projectile vomited because it could not handle how many fries we were shoving down its throat.
you imagine just having a large fry and just being like fry number 18, fry number 19, like it just keeps.
Were they counting? Were they recording it for like TikTok or something? I don't think TikTok was out at the time, but like for you know what I mean, like putting it up on YouTube.
A large fry to a baby would be like eating like 18 large fries. It would be like eating like 20 large fries because it's like almost the size of my body.
What if we like looked up on YouTube how many fries can a baby take? And there are like videos on there and you can just see them like 1 fry, 2 fry, 3 fry. And then just keep on putting fries in this baby's mouth until he's like it's funny too because he's a baby. Like the baby has no way of saying no. Like the baby can't communicate no. The baby can't like, you know, the best the baby can do is like put its like hand in front of its mouth maybe. Like the baby has no way of stopping this abuse that's going, like none. It can't even say that hurts. It can't like nothing.
Like you should know that your baby's full. Like you know what I mean?
Well, like on top of that, you should know your baby probably he's good. Like he doesn't need any more fries. Like
I just want to know how comically large the amount of fries that they fed him were. Like,
could you imagine too though, like your child throwing up and then not like offering to clean it up but just leaving it? Right, like you know that's like, you know what I mean? Like that's a problem. Like they're not gonna just leave that in the corner.
I had a guy do that. It was like 2 minutes before close. It was like 9:58. Lobby closed at 10. Ran in without asking. Went to the toilet and then ran out. He was in there for maybe 45 seconds. And I looked at the toilet. So he was going to throw up because he had like really had to throw up. And so he got on his knees, got right over the toilet. The toilet's here. He flipped up the lid. And then right as he's about to throw up, the lid falls down. And he just throws up and it just coats the entire outside. Not one drop got inside the toilet. It got all around the outside of the toilet. And it was so bad. I was cleaning up for like half an hour. It was so awful.
You cleaned it up still?
Because no, he left. He like ran right out of there. Right after. He left me to find it. Like he ran in and then ran right out. And that was it.
He said, hey, there's a mess in there.
No, didn't even say that. Just left. It was so bad. Oh, did I tell you? I watched Friday the 13th Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, you told me that you were gonna watch that soon. How was it?
It was really funny because like thinking of a murderer who's murdering people at a camp, like at Camp Crystal Lake, where he was for like the previous movies. That's like really scary because there's like some guy going around from cabin to cabin and some guy killing someone upstairs and like throwing people through windows. It's scary. But like whenever they made it to New York and these people were running from Jason, guy in the mask, and he was like running around trying to kill him, like they were in Times Square. They like made it through the subway system into Times Square and they're like, hey, help, this guy's trying to kill us. And all the New Yorkers were like, yeah, that's what happens in New York. People kill people. And like, you know what I mean? Like they could not care at all. Like they asked the waitress, like, help, like there's a guy like right there trying to kill us. And she's like, people die. Like pretty much like in so many words. She's like,
that's so crazy.
Because like if you think about it, imagine being in New York so long that you're like desensitized to crime.
Well, I was just say that's what they did that study. Do you remember that? There was like we talked about that in college, one of my classes, how like there's a study where this girl was like, it was like a real incident actually. It wasn't a study, but they did a study on the incident. This girl was getting like raped and she was like asking for help in this alleyway that was like right next to like a pretty major street, and like 20 people passed her before somebody actually helped her. And everything like 20 people. You have to go 20 people deep before you can find someone who's like, hey, maybe I should. I mean, I guess I'm gonna step in. I guess everybody else won't. And it's like called the bystander effect, right? Where everybody else is like, oh well, they'll step in. The next person. You know what I mean? And it's funny though because I don't feel like Kansas City's like that at all. I feel like I don't know. I would hope one of us would step in pretty quickly.
Not even. Well, yeah, that's why it was Jason Takes Manhattan, not Jason
Takes. Jason takes the Midwest. Jason takes the Midwest. He's like dead immediately. He just gets shot like right into like in between the eyes. He's dead.
That would be crazy.
Dude, Jason Takes Texas. That needs to be a movie.
Dude, Texas Takes Jason. Texas takes Jason from behind.
dude. But yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
man.
that runs me in Chicago. You were in Chicago. Did I tell you about that time when I was at the gas station? And I saw these two people. So the way the gas stations are designed in Chicago, it's like maximum traffic. So the doors swing both ways. You know what I mean? But these two people, they met at the door. Like they ran into the door. One pushed it and one pulled it. You know what I mean? Or both pushed it, right? But opposite ways at the exact same time, right? And so then they bumped into each other and like, one of them was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man." And he's like, "That's right. You better be sorry. You better be sorry." Right? And then they almost got in a fight over one of them just saying, "I'm sorry." Like if he had not said anything, they might not have gotten in a fight. You know what I mean? Like it might have been like whatever.
That's like that one video. You ever see that video? Is like a security cam footage of this guy. There's this guy walking with his headphones in, and another guy like pulls a gun at him and it's like, "Give me all your money." But he has his headphones in, he can't hear him, and he's like looking down, and so he just walks right by him. And then the guy's holding his gun like,
dude, that's a good point though. Okay, so because I mean, what? You're not going to just shoot the guy, right? Because I mean, most times robberies probably don't want to shoot. Robbers don't want to shoot the guy.
And that guy didn't even know that you tried to rob him.
That's what I'm saying. You're the only. Whenever you hold a gun at someone, you're only as powerful as a perceived threat, right? So like, if I pretend like you're not holding a gun at me, and I just ignore you, I'm like, "Oh yeah, whatever," you know what I mean? You're like, "Stop! I'll really shoot," And I just keep going, and you shoot me. Like, yeah, you shot me and I died, but at no point did I ever like. You didn't, you know what I mean? Like I was never like, "Whoa, what's going on?" You know what I mean? All right, here, I'll give you all my money. Just, go, And so like, I was thinking about that, dude, when we were staying in the Walmart parking lot when we were on our way to Utah. And I was thinking about that, like, dude, if somebody like knocked on the glass and was like, "Wake up." You know what I mean? Like, I was thinking like, what if I just don't wake up? What if I just don't let him know I'm awake? Like, you just wait, you can keep on the glass. Hey, come on, I'm trying to rob you. Like, wake up, dude.
Wake up so I can rob you, please. Yeah. Or just steal a lady, like that lady who got her purse stolen on the subway. She fell asleep on the subway. She fell asleep on the subway and her bag was gone, and then she woke me up. She's like, "Hey, where's my bag? Where's bag?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I'm like groggy.
No, at first you're kind. You're like, I don't. You're like, "Oh, I don't. I know I don't have your bag. I'm sorry. Like, I hope you find it. Like, I don't have your bag." And then she comes back. She leaves that car and she comes back like 5 minutes later, maybe 2 minutes later. She comes back and she's like, "Really, where's my bag?" And you're like, I don't have. She never bothered me at all. She asked me once, and she was like, "He has my bag." Like she was all over you, dude. She's like, "Well, where'd you hide it?" And she started looking around. I was like, "Where would he hide it? Where did he hide it? He's everything. All of his possessions are currently with him, like in his pocket."
Like all I had was like my shirt, the clothes that I had on, like my.
Did she start touching you? I feel like she started touching you, like feeling you up a little bit. Like, where'd you put it?
My arm, like she tried to like pull me up. And I was like, "I'm not. What do you think I put it? I'm not. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
dude,
I was so upset."
She's
She's like, "For real though, but actually though, like where?"
No, but like no. Dude, then she starts like hitting you, like, "No, come on, like, no, it's all right, guys. You got the old crazy lady, but like, here's the bag." Dude, I think she was even talking to you after we got off. Like, she was trying to get like, she was like, "No, but like, like where's it at?" And you're like,
"It's weird because you were awake and she didn't bug you, but she bugged me."
Oh, she didn't bug you. You were asleep and she bugged you constantly. I don't know why.
I think because I had a black do-rag on and I had that big tan coat, and
I'm not gonna lie, you look kind of fake asleep. Like, it's because you were trying to sleep. Because that was the night that we couldn't go back to the apartment or to the
we couldn't go back to the dorm because we had broke curfew. So so for the listeners who don't know, it was literally you either got back at 10 o'clock or you had to wait until 6 a.m. depending on if there was someone at the desk or
not. Yeah. So it depended because every other night we'd done it, there was nobody at the desk, and this one particular night there was one person.
I was like, "Are we just gonna wait across the street and look in the window until that person like goes to the bathroom or something?" Like, you know what I mean? Because I was thinking, like, why don't we just do that? You know what I mean? But
well, what did we do? We ended up going to like a 24-hour place, and you just fell asleep at that diner.
Yeah, and then dude, it's so crazy because like I feel like so many other friends that I would take on that trip would have been like so upset. That's like, you know what I mean? But me and you were just having an awesome time, dude. We were like chilling on Lake Michigan.
Yeah, dude. Do you remember that was so cool chilling on Lake Michigan when we
That beach, Oak Street Beach, is
yeah,
maybe the most beautiful beach in the country. I mean,
it was pretty cool. I also really liked the beach in Myrtle Beach when we went.
did it? Oh yeah, well, Myrtle Beach didn't have like a skyline right up next to the coast though.
Well, no, I
It
mean
did.
it has that one disadvantage, but I do think it had like a nice. I think when we were on that dock, it looked really nice.
The horizon of
Yeah,
water is always really cool to see. Like a whole horizon of just ocean. I don't know, like that's always fun.
it was. I thought, and also I just thought Myrtle Beach was just a really nice area to be honest. I mean, it was funny too though because when we were putting on the sunscreen, I was just thinking about that how hot it was. Was actually the one bummer because I remember when we put on the sunscreen, you could see like where we hadn't sprayed it and where we had. Like it was like, shh, shh. And then like right here, this little thin line where one of us forgot, like, either I didn't spray you there or you didn't spray me. We had this like red line, this dark, deep red that because we had gotten sunburnt so bad.
And I had drip lines where it had dripped down.
Yeah.
Once the white and then around it was red.
That's what was so funny too, is that it was so hot. And on top of that, oh god, dude, I made the poor decision to only eat sushi and drink alcohol and go on a freaking roller coaster ride. That's all on me.
Had you? I don't remember you eating sushi on that trip.
Dude, I ate two things of sushi. I literally ate two things of sushi, and it was, oh god, dude. Do you remember I threw up everywhere? Well,
I didn't see you throw up.
yeah, because I went to the bathroom. Yeah, so we've been talking about throw up quite a bit, by the way. I've been
The puke cast.
the
Puke cast.
I literally went to the bathroom though, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not. And then when I came back out though, we started riding other rides. I was all good, but
We went to that amusement park way sooner than we should have. We went like right when it opened at like 4 p.m. And then like later that night, the place looked so much cooler, but we had already rode all the rides.
well, no, we were there for a little bit of it. You know what I mean? Like we were definitely. I know I agree. It looked better at night, but we were there for. I mean, like 4 hours. You know what I mean? It was. It looked really cool. I have some really cool pictures of it. Still.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I love a good amusement park. Like
We-
Kaylee is super big on amusement parks. And
Yeah. Dude, we need to hit one up soon, dude. We need to. Whenever I visit you, dude, we need to amusement park it up, dude.
There's this one amusement park so I'm not a big Disneyland or Disney World guy because I don't care about taking a picture with Snow White, and I feel like all that stuff, like all the Disney stuff, gets in the way of the rides. I just care about the rides. You know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah, sometimes that's true, but sometimes it really helps. Like I know, like Steven Spielberg designed the ET ride, at Universal. So
That's
like
pretty
that's like always really cool. And you have like whenever you have like, oh, they designed this ride, and so like, but yeah, dude, for the most part, I would agree. I think sometimes you get like the teacups, whether or not they're the teacups, like what I mean, teacups are always teacups, those rides. But like, oh, because they're the ones from Snow White, it's like, are they better? Right? Like I don't, or not Snow White. I meant Beauty and the Beast. That's on me. But yeah, is it a better ride because it's got branding? Like you know what I mean? I don't know. It's because it's a Nike teacup versus not a Nike teacup. I don't know. But
And then like I don't know. It's like there's an amusement park in Ohio that has 70 roller coasters at the amusement. It's like I think it's called Cedar City or something like that. And I was looking up, I'm like, I would much rather go to one of those than like,
dude, we should go to one, dude. Me, you, and Kate, we should all go to one, dude. That'd be dope.
Well, you gotta find a girl. That way we can do a double date thing.
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
because you gotta have an even number. Because that way, if two people want to go off and do things,
dude. First off, though, it's kind of funny though because like now it's the opposite situation when we're on a double date. Before I had to find you a girl for a double. Now I gotta find a girl for a double date. But yeah, dude, we definitely gotta go on a double date. I just really love amusement parks. I can't. The last time I went to one was with you, actually.
Was it that time at Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, Myrtle Beach.
I went to. Well, I've gone to. There's a big amusement park here in Utah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Kaylee. It's called Lagoon. It's really nice. They have like one of the oldest. They have like 100-year-old roller coaster there that is made of wood. And
that's what the one in the Worlds of Fun was, right? Timberwolf was made of wood.
Yeah, so this one is like I think it's one of the largest. Actually, let me look up real quick. The Lagoon wooden roller coaster. Because I'm pretty sure it's either one of the largest or one of the oldest wooden roller coasters in the country. Let me see. over 100 years old, remains one of the most popular attractions at the park. Yeah, so it's like the thing is that they kept doing maintenance on it the entire time, so like it doesn't feel, it doesn't. 100-year-old wooden roller coaster sounds rickety and sketchy.
No, that sounds honestly, it sounds exactly kind of like. Here's the thing, it sounds exactly the way you'd want it. Like it sounds like there'd be a couple death stories on it. Like, oh, one time a kid died. You know what I
Those
mean?
are
Like,
the best roller coasters.
right?
If
Yeah.
no one's died on it, I almost don't want to go on it. Because they're like, oh, everyone's been fine. It's been this roller.
Well, someone doesn't need to die. I just want the myth that someone has died. Right? You know what I'm saying? I just want that, like, I want that, like, that mythos around it where you're like, I don't, is this okay? Like, is this safe? Like, should I, there's no buckle. Is this how it should buckle? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want that fear, you know?
I went on the tallest water slide in the world, and it was in Schlitterbahn. Yeah, for the listeners, in Schlitterbahn, they built the largest and tallest water slide in the world, but they designed it really poorly, and they made it to where there's no buckles, there's no metal clicks, it's just velcroed in. You're velcroed in, which sounds insane. Doesn't that sound insane that you're just, and literally you have to climb like a 30-story, it's like the little like, yeah. You are gassed by the time you get up. I had to take breaks like 3 different times getting up there because of how high up it was. And then they have to weigh you. They have to make sure the 3 people who are going to be on the ride are weighed. They closed it down because a kid got decapitated on the ride. Because
go ahead.
They put, so it was the bottom half was the actual, it was like a tube, but it was only the bottom half of the tube. And then the top was like a net halo over you. But you're flying down it at insane speed. So if like your hand touches the net, or if your face touches the net, if your nose clips the net, you're done. And that just never occurred to me.
I mean, that's like, yeah, that's actually what happened. Was there was like a lot of safety issues with it because, like, well, I mean, because first off, the kid didn't weigh enough. They didn't weigh enough together, and so what happened was like he kind of like bounced, and then he bounced right into the net. But I mean, dude, that was like such an awful situation. That's, to me, that's like
10-year-old kid getting decapitated. I mean, what's worse than that? You know?
It's difficult even because you think about it, and it's like that's not a myth. You know what I mean? Like that's not like when like that's what I'm saying. Like whenever we're talking about like myths, like that's just
that's just really happened.
That is that like you know what I mean? Like I'm saying, I knew people who knew parts of the people in that family. You know what I mean? Like it was so real that it's like horrifying. But that's what I meant. Like I feel like if that roller coaster is 100 years, like I don't know anybody 100 years ago, right? So like if I found out somebody died 100 years ago on this roller coaster, it's like a little more easier to be like, whoa, you know, that was like, you know what I mean? Like be intrigued by it. Whereas this is just like sad because like, you know what I mean? I you know, people have been affected by this. I mean, they literally closed down Schlitterbahn afterwards. You know what I mean? Like such a. I mean, no. First off, they definitely should have closed down that water slide. That's what they did immediately, obviously.
Of course.
But
can you imagine if they were still like, well, last one didn't turn out very good, but I got a good feeling about this one, and you're like, dude, what? If you were that guy who right in front of you, right before you, a kid was killed, and they're like, well, we're still gonna let you go though, and you already walked all the way up these stairs, would you still be like,
well, hold up, dude, no,
right.
Well, how do they? That's not even how they do it. The guy would have gone, right? Because they say, all right, you're clear to go at a certain point, right? But I'm saying
they make it, you can only go after the people who started are all the way done because it was a straight drop up and then down. It was literally just a straight drop up and then down. So it was like,
I see what you're saying. So it wasn't, because I'm saying sometimes certain water slides they'll let you go after somebody hits the midway point.
Yeah, because some of those are like it curls around and up and over a bunch of times.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was thinking. Like if it was like one of those, then that guy might have gone. You know what I mean? So I'm saying there are like 3 people.
That would have been crazy. You imagine a severed head hits you in the face.
Could you imagine? Like another thing is that like what's even sadder about like obviously the life lost. It's also sad because like this company now has to shut down, and I mean people were part of the company. Not everybody made this negligent decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Like, could you imagine though? Like, what could you imagine though for a second? Like, I heard one. Oh, dude, this happened to me too. This did not happen to me. I'm saying I was there though. This kid, you know that one that spins around, that ride that spins around. It's like zero gravity or something. Like it spins around and then the bottom drops out, and then like you know, because you're like pressed against the side. It's a very common ride at like.
Oh, the ring. It's like a
The
ring.
Yeah, it's like a ring. Yeah, yeah, and it spins around so fast, and then you're kind of like stuck to the side, and so you like, yeah.
But you're standing up. They strap you
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Well, then they like, but they can. I've seen ones that move to where now you're like, you're like literally. Sometimes you're like looking down at the ground, completely like 90 or parallel with the ground, because they move the ring because you know what I mean, you're stuck to the wall, so you don't fly. This one kid jumped though, because you would jump so that you could get like a certain spot, and then you can move around a little more, right? And so we do it all the time. Is that you jump before it starts, and this is crazy, dude. So you jump before it starts, right? And then all of a sudden, like the ring would spin around. Dude, this kid jumped though, and he freaking got caught. Like he got caught. Like he got so the wall, the wall is he got like a little bit above the wall, and so he was like pressed up against the wall, dude. I'm not even joking. So his body was like he didn't die or anything.
Like at his waist, like his top half was over.
Well, it's, yeah, like I mean, about like I can't remember exactly how much of him was over, but enough to where like he like afterwards he was like, oh god, like you know what I mean? I don't think he jumped again. He was hanging out with us but dude, yeah, he got just a little over it, and it was like, ah. And it's funny too because I don't even remember if it was his body or his arm. It was some part of his body though, because it happened so long ago. But some part of his body got over it, and after that we quit jumping whenever it started. But I remember one time there was that. Do you know that one that's like a Ferris wheel that goes up, but you can actually spin it? It's like a roll cage, basically like on a like Ferris wheel. I had a cousin who I went on it with, and he wanted to flip us. Like he was like, dude, let's flip because nobody flips. You just kind of rock back and forth. He wanted to flip us, dude. And I already when he flipped us, dude, it was horrifying. Like it literally it's literally like you saw death. Like you're like, okay, don't do that again. Like, and it was funnier too though because, I mean, he would go so fast and violently because that's how you. I mean, obviously you have to get the flip. That like after a while they stopped the ride and they're like, listen, like people in car 5, you need to stop because they had like some sort of like speaker system or something, and it was just so crazy because I remember thinking like, I don't know, like what if we don't like would we just flip off at some point? Like we're like, you know what I mean? Like what's the limits of this ride?
Like that's how I felt when me and Evan were riding the indoor Ferris wheel at Shields, and he kept rocking back and forth, but the thing was open. Everything was opened around us. I'm like, we're at the top of this thing. It's opened, and we had one of those loose like lap belts that when you could you'd still fit your hand through. Like we were very loosely in there. So like if he flipped this thing upside down, we're definitely falling out. Like and he kept flipping it back and forth. I'm like, dude, like stop for real. Like,
dude, one time me and Kayla, we went on a freaking Ferris wheel, and dude, I'm not even scared of heights like that. You know what I mean? Like, well, I always tell people I'm scared of heights in like
it's
very
unsecure.
Well, I'm scared of heights in a very like it's like biological, right? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like whenever I like my body just reacts biologically to heights. Like I can't help it. You know what I mean? Like I literally. What'd you say?
Natural. Everyone has a natural fear of heights. Like,
well, yeah. So like whenever I say I'm like scared of heights, that's what I mean. It's just like my body starts getting really weird. But anyway, so she kept on like doing that though. She kept on like rocking it to where it would do that. I'm like, you gotta stop. Like you got like it's you know what I mean? Like my body's just going off. It's like an alarm. Right? I'm like, I don't want to feel these like I feel like Pringles, you know what I mean? Like little pricks in my fingers and my feet.
Yeah, like sensitivity. Your body gets all sensitive.
Yeah, just even thinking about it right now. But yeah, I'm like, I don't want to feel this. This isn't positive. And she was like, "Why? It's fun." And I'm like, "Please stop! Please stop! Please stop!" But it's funny too because that was the Ferris wheel. I used to go on the craziest rides. What's the? I'm trying to think of what the best ride is. Oh, because the roll cage is probably the most intense.
Do you want to get into the articles I got for you? Some current events.
Yeah, we do the articles.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, they can talk about rides forever. There's some crazy ones. All right, so I got. Actually, from now on, I think I'm just going to be the news guy. I'll be the news. I'll be the correspondent. One of us. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, so I got two of them. One of them's a Florida man one, so I know you'll like it. All right. According to the Guardian, Florida man allegedly hides gun inside raw chicken to foil airport security. Oh my gosh, can you believe that? Can you imagine trying to like jamming a Glock up inside a raw chicken? And think about that. How could you even can you get a raw chicken onto a plane? How much food?
Also, was the raw chicken like not wrapped? Like did you like a raw chicken?
Let me see. In a pun-laden post, bar temp.
I mean, dude, imagine having just. Can you walk? Yeah, that's a good question. Can you just walk in with? I mean, what do you just have in his hand? Raw chicken.
He said that the chicken was inside his carry-on luggage. He said, did the bird still have feathers on it?
It was a raw chicken, isn't like a dead chicken?
It wasn't. All right, no, sorry. It was raw and greasy. That's what they put. Oh man.
Raw, greasy. I think maybe they mean slimy.
Yeah, I guess slimy would be a better word.
He tried to fry it. He tried to fry it in grease before like putting the gun in. Oh, dude, could you imagine? Also, by the way, like I like imagining it wasn't like a Glock. Maybe it was like an AK-47, a little bit bigger. Like
that would be so dumb. No chicken is that large. Like imagine like the barrel sticking out one end, butt stock is out the other.
Yeah, he just puts it in the middle. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
This is my chicken that I will eat when I get off the plane.
This is a delicious chicken. Clearly, yeah.
But I'm like, if you wanted to, could you just bring a bunch of food? Like if I had a suitcase full of like fried chicken, McDonald's bags, could you even do that? Like,
yeah, you can't do that. No, because you can only have liquids up to a certain point. Like you couldn't.
But
you have to, like
solid foods though.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying you have to have like special things, right? So okay, you could like bring snacks, right? But I'm saying you can't bring on like McDonald's bags. I guess it wouldn't be able to like determine what a snack is and isn't. But like, I'm saying I can't imagine you could just bring on a bunch of food. Like I just can't, especially with the liquids thing, which is also weird. I mean, why can't you take on, if I have water and they can prove it's water, why can't I just bring it on?
They don't want you to like hold someone's face down on the water and like drown someone.
I guess water on this plane. If it's a 14-hour plane and we don't have water, like that's, I guess it was without it.
But then they have water on the plane that the stewardess served it. But it's like weird. It's like I don't think you're allowed to have a raw chicken. So it's like it would be like if I tried to hide my heroin inside my cocaine. It'd be like you're still it's still two things.
I tried to hide my heroin in my gun, and I did imagine if someone tried to hide cocaine as a bomb on a plane.
Yeah,
I don't have cocaine. Well, we know you don't have cocaine. It looks like you have a bomb.
Sorry, it's not cocaine. It's C4.
Yeah, right. Yeah, could you imagine? You bring either on a plane. I don't know what. I'm sure the most common way to sneak in drugs, by the way, is probably through pills. I can't imagine that they would be like, there's no way they have enough time to check through everybody's pill bottles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy because you can't. I mean, anything could be inside those pills, like little powder inside the pill capsules.
Yeah. Well, because you know, what'd be really funny is if they, when he got the. Do you think they like took a long time to like, all right, well, we have this unidentified object in the chicken. Do you think somebody had to go in there and like pull it apart, or do you think right away they're like, it's a gun?
Someone had to like, and then they're like, sir, I need you to spread your raw chicken so we can check inside you.
I got stopped at the airport one time when I was coming back actually from North Carolina. I tell you about this. I got stopped by like TSA whenever I went through the thing, and it was a big deal, dude. They were like, they searched through all my bags.
Oh, really? No way.
Not through all my bags. They searched through a particular part because they're going to something. Do you remember that I bought when I was there, and they found it? I was like, oh, of course, this is what they thought it was. When I was in South Carolina and we were in the gift shop with the giant shark, I bought that comb knife. And they literally thought it was a knife. I'm not joking, dude. They literally
was it the comb switchblade?
Switchblade knife, yeah. The switchblade comb.
It had no blade on it.
It had no blade, yeah. But it was like everything. It was everything a switchblade was, but with a comb.
Yeah.
Instead of a blade. And so they literally pulled it out, and they were like, "What? What is this?" Right? And I was like, "This is crazy. This is so weird. You're not even gonna believe me. They're like, right? Like I'm gonna tell you, and you're like, that sounds retarded." And I'll be like, "Yeah, right." Like I don't.
Did you click it? Did you show them that it was a comb?
Yeah, no, actually, they just did it themselves. Because I was like, "Well, here, let me show you," and he's like, "No, back up." Right? And I was like, "Could you imagine though?" Like
he literally said that. He said, "Back up."
Yeah, imagine this is the beginning of an action movie, right? And I'm like, here, let me show you. And I grab it, and I do the switchblade, and I stab it right into his neck, and like,
let me show you. I got him.
Oh, dude, have you seen that? Who was it who somebody held themselves hostage in a movie. Do you remember that?
Held themselves hostage?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. He's crazy. He's totally gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Oh yeah, that wasn't a movie. What movie?
Yeah, I'm just extremely stupid. So he was like, he was literally like, okay, let me see. And then he pulled it out and he started laughing. He was like, no, you're good. Right? Because I'm like, come on, like, I'm not gonna bring a weapon onto a plane. Right? And even if I did, I would just be like, keep the weapon, dude. I'm not trying to do anything, right? Like, why? Could you imagine if a terrorist got caught like with a bomb like on a plane and he's like, you know what, like, this is stupid. I really just want to go on the plane. I don't even want to do the bomb anymore. Is it?
I really want to get to Des Moines.
I'm like, good. I don't even want to be here right now.
Yeah. Dude, the other story I have, coincidentally, is also in another airport story. Woman stopped at airport while wearing a butt plug containing boyfriend's ashes. Can you imagine that?
It's funny to me that they would like, you think they had to like, all right, man, we're going to need you to pull that out of your...
You need to pull that out of your butt. I'm sorry. I'm like, what? I'm like,
dude, that is crazy. I can't even imagine how embarrassing that would be. Why would she go into the airport? She could have had that in her suitcase and it would have been fine.
Let's see if it says anything else. Sarah Button, 23, gone viral on TikTok for wearing a metal butt plug with "Forever" engraved on it at an airport in Australia. Going through customs, the law student wore the toy as a way of traveling with her late partner that she hoped to show him to the world. He wanted to travel the world, but he was dead, so she traveled the world with him.
I think Earth would get that job done. I don't think you need to...
I think you could just do a necklace file.
Yeah, I don't think you need to utilize them in such a way. It's weird to me that they have even that as a possibility, right? Like somebody was like, can you imagine someone be like, someone's gonna want this, like this is their bestseller. Like, where'd you buy that at? I mean, probably Amazon, but like who I want to know who the producer of such an item is, though. You know what I mean? Like, because I think about it, and you're like, well, what else do they have? Because I mean, that's not where it stops. Like, that can't be the craziest thing they have.
Well, it's kind of like that guy. You ever hear about that guy who got busted whenever Tesla came out with the self-driving thing? He sold a fake hand that you could put on your steering wheel, and it would think that your hand is on the steering wheel, like trick the sensor, so you could just go and take a nap while the hand is on the because it'll only self-drive if there's at least one hand on the steering wheel, like every few minutes. And so, but he got in trouble, and they said, like, by law, like Department of Transportation, you can't do that. And so he just sold the exact same thing, and he just labeled it phone mount. But you can still use it as a little claw for your thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, like, I'm just saying you throw out butt plug, and I'm saying, like, that's just the beginning. That's where we began. So I'm just thinking, where do we end? Like, what's the weirdest thing you could imagine? And I'm like, a gun. Maybe a gun, like someone's like, this is my father's ashes, in the gun.
In the gun. In the gun. In the bullet of the gun.
Could do that though. You actually could do that. You can put it with a gunpowder.
It's like that video we watched where the guy, he was like, no, I thought it was a Key and Peele one, but it wasn't. But it was this guy, and he was like, you wanna go on a shoot off? And he's like, yeah, sure. He's like, it was like an Old West video. It's like, I'm challenging you to a draw. And then he grabbed the bullet and he tried to put it through the tip of the gun. I don't know why, but like, yeah, it's like how me and you were talking about how like the idea of like challenging someone to something without even knowing the most basic tenets of
yeah.
Like, you challenge someone to a race and they got in the passenger side. Like,
dude. Speaking of that, I think it's funny. Street racing is crazy. I think it's funny. I think the best. I still think my favorite street race in a movie still is in Fast and Furious 8, where somehow Dom manages to pull it out with that freaking. What was that car? Was that like it was like an old
Model A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old. And he somehow he pulled it out, and then I love it when he jumps out of the car going like 200 miles per hour at the end of it after he wins.
And he just goes like.
Yeah, he jumps out of it.
Dust it off.
Does a roll, right, and then the car hits a ramp and shoots up and explodes, and he's like, ugh, ugh. Yeah, and he like walks. He walks away with the explosion, and you're like, okay, like
It's
that
all right.
real. He has like a partner, dude. That'd be a funny skit. He has like a partner, and his partner like rolls out with him, and his partner's like, oh god, okay, like he rolls out. Like, Dom's like brushing off like nothing, and his partner's just like half his like skin just scraped off because it's just because he didn't do the roll. Like so, yeah, he didn't tuck his shoulder enough. Like just.
Maybe that's why all the sleeves are missing from all his shirts because he's just
dude, hilarious, dude. If he had like a long sleeve, like like dude, you never wear long sleeves, right? And then like when he rolls out, they rip off, and he just like.
But dude, if you had to rank all 9 Fast and Furious movies, not including Hobbs and Shaw, obviously, which would have been the 10th one, real quick, I'm gonna rank them. I'm gonna go 5, 4, 7, 6, 1, 2, and then 3 would be all the way at the bottom.
Really, Tokyo Drift? That's
yeah.
Weird. I like Tokyo Drift. I would say I haven't seen 8 or 9 all the way through.
Okay, so excluding 8 or 9, 1 to 7.
I'd probably go 7. I like 5 a lot though. 7, to me, 7, 4, 5 would have to be top 3.
Oh, I didn't even put. Sorry, I forgot to put 8 and 9. So I put 8 and 9 right above 3.
Yeah, I'd probably go 7, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2, probably.
3 is ahead of the original. You liked it that much?
I just think it's like it's more interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think like
some people don't like it because it was about a high schooler, and it wasn't. Some people thought it was like less serious because it was like a high schooler.
That's true. I think I mean maybe I think the thing is that it just I mean you can see that though is that after 1 they just got outside of 2, which I think 2's fine. 2 is my least favorite. Actually, I'd probably go because I have seen enough of 8. I'd probably go 2 then 8. 8's probably my least favorite. But I would say that I think they just get significantly better. Like technology just 5 is like the technology is crazy in 5. You know what I mean? In terms of like the way that they just shoot the scenes. You know what I mean? Because I'm saying like you start off in like 2001 and then now what is 5 comes out like 2012ish, 2010ish, like right in that range, 2012 I think, or 2013. But I'm saying like the technology at that point, the cameras had been so much more like advanced with like the movements that they're able to capture. And so it's just so different. They're so like the races are crazy.
What about the plot? The plot of the movie, or like?
Yeah, no, the plot of 5 is good too. But what I mean though is that like, I feel like in 2001, which is when the first one came out, they wouldn't have been able to do that scene in 7 where they literally have cars come out of the freaking like airplane, right? And they like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying like just in terms of what we were able to do, the movie just got significantly more intense.
That one has actually made the most money. 7 has made the most money of any because they kept making more and more and more and more, and then 7 made the most, and then 8 and 9 still made a lot of money, but they didn't. They just are a little bit less because, and to be honest, since Furious 7, I felt like the series was ramping up all the way up to 7, and then 8 and 9 have really fallen off. Like, 8 was a lot. 8 was just a normal action movie to me, and then 9 was not even a good action movie to me. So it was like, I feel like that's just where I don't know. I feel like after Paul Walker died, they kind of lost that. I mean, that's what the whole thing was, right? It was like him and him and Vin Diesel. You know, I feel like after Paul Walker died, they just lost. Probably, I mean, I like Vin Diesel, but I think Paul Walker is probably my favorite character in the whole series. You know, he seemed like he brought everybody back down to earth. Like, you know what I mean? Like when Vin Diesel would have his chain, his cross, and he would be working on a car, drinking a Corona, which is the only thing Vin Diesel ever does in his spare time is work on a car and drink a Corona. That's all he ever does in his spare. Every time the camera shows up on him at the beginning of a movie, it's always him. Or grilling burgers. He's always like grilling. He's doing like the most manly stuff ever. He's like lifting weights. Yeah. He's always passing a Corona to his kid. I don't know. You're 8. You know, you got to get into the family business early. Drinking Coronas and working on cars. You're 8 years old, son. You're a man. Like, you know. Oh, dude. You know what we should do? We should rank action. All right. So I'm not saying we should rank action heroes, but if there's 3 classes, who belongs in each class? Class 1 being classic, all-time greats. Class 2 being decent. You watch them because you really like them. You like them as a character, as a person. And then 3, low budget. But Steven Seagal is definitely in 3.
I think 3. Hold up though, because we talk bad about Steven Seagal all the time. I think Steven Seagal was Class A for like the tiniest period of time, which is why he's even able to still do what he's able to doing.
Maybe he's like 3 years max.
Yeah, there was like a 3-year window, right? Like right Under Siege, I think. This is like big movie.
And Above the Law.
Yeah, he kind of dipped off right after Under Siege because I can't think of any movie he did after that was like I would even consider watching outside of laughing at. No offense, Steven Seagal. You ever watch it?
He makes a lot of hilariously bad.
I would make a Steven Seagal movie with him. By the way, to clarify, if he ever said, "Hey, do you want to make a movie?" I would say yes, but like we're making my movie. We're not making your movie, Steven Seagal. We're not making No Time to Die 5. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's whatever. He picks. I don't know. No Time to Die is a James Bond movie, but I just feel like his movies always have that like Half Past Dead, or
bullet to the dick.
Yeah, right. That's never.
That's not.
But it's just always like something stupid like that. It's always like midnight, half past murder. And you're like, this is gonna be. It's exactly what the title sounds like. I think. Well, first off, I think we should just name top tier action heroes. Really, because I think the best are Arnold.
In the top tier.
Arnold, Sly, Jason Statham. I think Jason Statham's top dog.
Would you consider Keanu Reeves a top dog?
Top dog.
He has had the John Wick series, but he's done a lot of other movies outside of that.
Yeah, Matrix. I'm sorry, but look, John Wick and Matrix. You're right. There.
Speed.
Yes. Oh, Speed. Yeah, Speed is good. I love Keanu Reeves, and I feel like even if he had John Wick, I mean, John Wick is the heroine of action movies.
It's like it's 99% pure. Like if action movies could be like tested for like purity and quality, like it would be like the highest in terms of like the amount of action for sure.
Yeah, dude. Have you seen? I really like the guy who did District B13. Have you seen that? The guys those were the parkour guys.
Oh no! Wait, is that the name of a movie? Is District B13?
Yeah, District B13. It was actually remade with Paul Walker and I think RZA from Wu-Tang Clan, called Brick Mansions.
Oh, I saw Brick Mansions.
The guys who did it originally though are French guys, and they created parkour, like the 2 actors in it. I think on that. Oh, dude. Obviously.
Is that an English film?
What? It's a French film. No, but you can watch it in English. Like you can watch it like dubbed.
It says District 13 on this one.
District B13.
Okay, yeah. This cover says B13.
But yeah, dude, those guys created parkour. So like, I feel like those are top. They've only been in, I think, that movie and then the second one maybe. But Raid? I think Raid. But Raid doesn't really have like a star. But I was gonna say, Bruce Lee obviously is top dog. He's the original action hero.
Kurt Russell, gotta be top tier.
Kurt Russell, not now, but Kurt Russell in his prime, top tier.
For sure.
I love Jason Statham. Nobody ever talks about Jason. I feel like we don't talk about him enough, but he's great. I love who was Jet Li? I think Jet Li and Jackie Chan are top dogs too. I think they had a really good. I
don't think Jet Li has the popularity enough to be a top tier.
Okay, that's true. I think I don't know. He doesn't have quite the popularity, but I mean, if you look at his movies though, right? Like without popularity coming into play, I think he's just got so many good moves.
I think Chuck Norris, even though he is a legend, and there's so many jokes made about him, I think he's been more of a television actor, and the movies he's made, a lot of them are low budget. So I'm going to put him in category 3, either category 3 or category 2.
Yeah, Chuck Norris his movies leave a lot to be desired. Like, let's just be honest, his legend is really off of Walker, Texas Ranger. Like,
that's his big thing. I want to see his movie, The President's Man, that he made.
Ooh, dude, I got a good one. What about Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I don't know. The thing is, he's super likable, and I know he's super nice guy. Like, but his movies, he's made a lot of garbage in his career. So I got to put him at 3.
I think he's 2. I think he's not quite, because the thing is he's never gone Steven Seagal low.
Are you kidding?
He's
Like,
not. Dude, wait, which one, dude? Okay, hold up.
Hard Target had some of the most hilariously like
Hard
insane.
Target had some of the best action though, too. You forget that though.
It wasn't like
We're not. Wait, no. Hold up. We're not judging it based off of the movie acting credentials. We're talking about purely action. In
it's
terms of
not
action,
it's not Rambo 2. Hard Target isn't like it didn't sell out theaters. You know what I mean?
Hard Target was crazy good action though. Like I'm
Yeah,
saying, so I mean, dude, like first off, Double Team is the stupidest movie. I love Double Team, but Double Team is a stupid movie. Double Team is a stupid movie, but what is it? It's a great action movie. You can
so
have a stupid movie and not have it and not be great. You can be a great action movie, not be necessarily like a good movie overall. Like the story's not, whatever. But it's a good action movie. It's a great action movie. You know what I mean?
That actually rolls us perfectly into our hidden gem segment.
That's true.
Yeah, because Double Team is a good hidden gem, but it's not what I'm going to choose for my hidden gem for this week. For this week, for the listeners, I am going to recommend Kicking and Screaming as my hidden gem, which I know is harder for a movie to be a hidden gem if it's slightly newer, but it came out in 2005, starring Will Ferrell and Robert Duvall. Very good movie. It is kind of a hidden gem now because not a lot of people talk about Kicking and Screaming. I feel like it's kind of flown under the radar over the last 15 years. Movie I've definitely grown up with a lot. I mean, Will Ferrell coaches Little League Soccer. I mean, how hilarious is that? And it's such good 2000s nostalgia, which I feel like only children born in like the late 90s, early 2000s will really be able to feel that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That's totally true.
Like the early days of the coffee shop. And
who was his dad? Was it John Boyd?
His dad was Robert Duvall.
Oh, it's Robert Duvall. Yeah, sorry, you said that. I was trying to figure out his
Those
dad.
two guys are very similar though, in like how the roles they play. I feel like.
Yeah. Did you see? I don't know. They're very like conservative father figure. I think almost in a lot of movies.
So, what's your hidden gem recommendation for our listeners?
I'm gonna go really, really hidden here. There's a movie one time when I was at that I found on DVD at a pawn shop, and it was called Imagination. It came out in 2007-ish, 6-ish, and it has like claymation in it. It's not like necessarily the best movie overall. It's really odd, very strange, but I think it's just, I don't know, anytime you could spotlight something like that, I think it's really, really well done, like in terms of the technology they had at the time and just the effort the guy put into it. Is really good at claymation, and I think it's just a really beautiful movie in that way. Like somebody really was really passionate about this and they really put a lot of effort into it.
Okay. It looks like, almost like it's animation almost. Like,
no, it is a lot of it's claymation. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess claymation is a type of animation,
yeah.
right?
A lot of it, yeah, but it has like live action in it, and it's like a low budget movie, and I found it at the, like I said, at the pawn shop. So it's not like, again, it's not necessarily the best movie overall, but I do think it's definitely one that is really well done. I think it's one that people should definitely give a view to because it's really it's very interesting.
Yeah, our hidden gems are the movies that are really good, but only like they're not in the public view, like Forrest Gump would be, or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I love movies like that. Like I feel like me and you are always willing to watch a movie that could be really bad, like Friday the 13th Part 8, or like you know what I mean, or like a movie that you take a chance on, like Hard Target, and ends up being good. It's like,
yeah, dude. Hard Target, by the way. I'm never gonna let you. It's a good movie.
No, it is a good movie. I think it is a good movie, but the explosions are cartoonishly larger than they would ever be.
But it's an act. That's what you want. That's what the point is though. Like you know when people are like, one thing I really dislike is sometimes when people are like, oh, that movie was really bad, right? And you're like, well, that would, like, did you not get that? That was the point of the movie. It was like to be like funny bad. Some movies are like that. Like Rubber. Have you seen Rubber? The one about the wheel that like blows up things?
No.
No.
What, dude, wait, what's it? Is it a movie? It's called Rubber?
Yeah.
What year?
2011.
Oh, dude. Rubber. Oh my gosh. Is it a good movie?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hilarious.
It's a horror about a tire.
But the point of it is that it's really bad. Like that's the point of the movie.
Like Planes versus Volcanoes.
Yeah. right? Like it's not. It's like if you went into Airplane and you're like, I didn't cry once. Like I wasn't sad. Like why wasn't I sad during Airplane? Or like, you know, it's like if you saw Get Out and you're like, oh man, I really just didn't like the drama in the movie. I really thought the drama. I didn't connect to like the cancer story. And you're like, were you watching the right movie? Because there's no cancer story in Get Out. You know what I mean? You're like, that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like you watch a movie and you have to have like you watch a silent movie and you're like, why was nobody talking? Why was the whole movie silent? Right? And you're like,
yeah, it's for the purpose of it. It's like it's what you get out of it. It's like your expectations. Like the reason why I watched all 8 Friday the 13th movies is because I thought they were kind of hilariously bad, and some of them were good, but it's like you watch it for the action, for the fun kills, and for the blood.
You got to watch Jason X.
Yeah, dude, you should actually watch Friday the 13th Part 6. It's actually the best one. I've actually heard a bunch of other people say it's the best one, and it's the only one that doesn't show tits. Like every other one has nudity and has boobs in it, but that's the only one.
Yeah, I feel like those movies actually were made. I was reading into it because they wanted to create like a film series that you like was never ending, kind of like they just could continually make money off of it, and like it feels like it whenever you watch them. I mean,
horror is the biggest genre for sequels.
That's true. Yeah, I really like. What's the other? I really like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. I really like a lot of those like other ones, but it's interesting because I think Jason. Because what Friday the 13th in 3D? Have you seen that one? You saw the third one, but did you see it in 3D? I forget.
I did not see it in 3D.
Dude, it is so funny like watching it in 3D because they'll do things that are just like way different. Like, let me put it this way: like somebody will like hand something to the camera, and after like when you watch it like this, you're like, oh, that's just somebody handing something to somebody, right? But in 3D, you're like, yo, bet, you know what I mean? You're like, great, you know what I mean? Like it looks like they're handing it to you.
3D was like big in that like a lot of people like were trying to. They made movies for the purpose of like 3D, and I feel like so because like 3D movies got a bad rap when they first came out, and I think for a while they do. Have you heard about the what was it? What's his name? The guy who created Avatar. James Cameron.
Yeah, it's coming out. Yeah. The second Avatar.
The second Avatar. Do you hear about the new 3D camera he made? That is 28 pounds. It's like a lot smaller, and which 28 pounds is the compact version. It's 28 pounds, and and it was like he literally had to like talk to like manufacturers and like distributors to like get this thing made. It was made just for that movie.
Wow, I mean that's super cool. I'm super excited for Avatar.
They have a beam splitter that like there's a camera going out, and then there's another camera right in front of it that is shooting up in like a weird way.
Wow.
Because have you seen the IMAX 3D cameras they use on movies? Like,
yeah,
they're like the size of a refrigerator almost. Like,
yeah, there's actually on Interstellar, the Christopher Nolan movie, came out in 2014. He actually was like, he was talking to the camera operator. He's like, yeah, we're gonna have to figure out some way how to lift the IMAX camera up so we can shoot into the spaceship. And one of the operators was like, no, I got you. And he literally did. He walked over there and he picked it up. Picked it up, yeah. And Christopher Nolan was like, that's the first time I've ever seen anybody do that. Like, he's like, I've seen 0 people pick up that camera because it's so big.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
He freaking put it. He just popped it on his shoulder, dude, and he popped it up there. And Christopher Nolan was like, I didn't even know that was possible. Like, I remember him talking about it and everything. Like, yeah, that thing's huge. I can't imagine picking up that camera.
I can't imagine the stress of picking up that camera. Imagine how stressed out you'd be. I'm carrying something. I mean, how many thousands of dollars is that thing? If he drops it,
he collapses middle of the take.
His back blows out when he grabs it, and they're like,
Like, he pulls wedges, the camera's on top of him, and he can't move anymore.
Dude, like, I don't even know what the technology in cameras is so intimidating. It's so crazy. Like, they're just so I feel like they get more and more complicated, you know?
It's funny because like with digital, it just like keeps ramping up. Like we're gonna have like 8K, 16K, 32K. With like film, the best we have still like it's still the same. It's been the same forever. It's 70 millimeter.
Well, weren't the old movies like shot in 35?
Well, 35 is like, yeah, but 70 is like the best though. So 35 is like really good, but 70 is like the best. That's what IMAX is basically.
So the lower the millimeters, like the worst quality is going to be.
Yeah, so like 16 is the It's like you might somebody who is like well off might have like a 16 millimeter camera.
But most people 8, right?
8, yeah, most people had 8.
Dude, I almost bought this thing. I saw it on online recently. It's an 8 millimeter reel of Super Bowl IV. Someone had.
What?
I could try to find a DVD or VHS copy of Super Bowl IV, but because that's not a lost Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, listeners don't know, Super Bowl 1 and 2 are lost. 1 has been found. But,
yeah. Well, it was lost.
It was lost, but the thing is that the guy who has it, he hasn't like released it to yet until like guys or something.
How would he know? Like, I guess he just looked at it and was like, yeah, that's Super Bowl 1.
I think you can still peel it apart and like look at the frames of it, and then peel the frames.
Maybe if that's.
That was a weird type of film that they shot it on, but I guess they used to sell 8 millimeter copies of it back in the day, which is kind of crazy. Because it was in like a box. It was in like a box that had like the Super Bowl IV on it.
Oh, really? So it was like an officially commemorated.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I know.
That might be. I don't know. That might be worth getting. You'd have to get a projector.
Yeah, I'd have to get a projector. I want to get a 35 millimeter projector and then go like reel hunting, for like lost films from the 20s.
Yeah, that would do. That's gonna be. That's gonna be
like,
it's gonna be a lot of money. 35 millimeter film, even if it's just film that has already like it's just a home movie, is still expensive.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Is that the width of the film?
Yeah, it's the width of the film. Actually, 70 millimeter isn't even. It's actually 65 millimeter, but it's 70 when you add in the soundtrack, so that's why I call it 70.
Oh.
Also, most reels, every reel goes like this, right? So like 35 goes like this. 70 is so large that they have to go to the side.
Oh, really? Oh, wait, so in those old movies, when you'd see like it'd be like this on the top, the reel was just the film was transferring over. So basically, what was probably happening was that the film is transferring, it's going through the lens, it's capturing the image, and it's going back down into this other reel. The blank film doesn't have anything when it goes into the where it's done. Yeah. That's pretty crazy. Any final thoughts before we head out?
Yeah, let's see.
We're having new uploads every Wednesday at noon, and so be sure to check us out. Email us if you ever want to email us at downkirk7@gmail.com.
I'll put that in the description below.
Okay.
Final thoughts. Hard Target's a good movie.
Hard Target is your hidden gem pick. Mine or no.
It was Imagination.
Imagination's your hidden gem pick.
Yeah, but Hard Target's a good movie. That's my final thought. Also, don't go on roller coasters if all you had to eat was sushi and alcohol.
Yeah. My final thought is the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl this year, and we're going to go 16-1. So yeah.
There we go.
First 16-1 team ever. All right. We'll see you guys next week.